Okay, so why can't you stop scrolling her, but then you can't get it up with her? Let's break it down. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Dr. Trish Leigh. Today we're going to talk about this arc of you're constantly or frequently scrolling Instagram baddies or OF models, and your brain is caught in a hyper stimulation loop. Now it's time to go be with your honey in the real world, and nothing happens. Or maybe you're fumbling, you're floundering, maybe you freeze, but maybe even worse, you can't feel anything and you cannot get aroused. This is a problem. We're going to break down the neuroscience behind it and, most importantly, a solution. So before we dive into that, I just want to remind you this podcast is part of my outreach program for the nonprofit that I've founded. It's called pornbrainprevention.org. That's the website. Please go over there and donate if you're inspired, because we're going upstream. We're going to help younger people stay away from porn so they never struggle with porn addiction. And in today's day and age, we know that's going to be more difficult than ever. So you're scrolling on Instagram for hours. You may even edge to OnlyFans models. You're in this loop, and then back in your real life, you're struggling with intimacy in the bedroom with your partner, who should be the person that you're able to get aroused with during times for intimacy, but you can't. So you know what I'm going to say, right? Your brain has been hijacked. Your dopamine reward system, it's been impacted. It's not functioning the way that it should or that it could. You're not broken. It is that your brain has been miswired in the wrong direction, back into pixels, to high levels of stimulation, supernormal stimuli, instead of people, namely your person. So let's talk about the neuroscience of the fantasy hijack. How does your brain get hijacked? Well, first of all, when we talk about going on whatever social media platform, and you're looking at people's bodies in a hypersexualized way, we are talking about the concept of scrolling for infinite hypersexual novelty. Infinite novelty. You keep going, seek, search, more. That is the essence of the molecule dopamine. It's the molecule of motivation, more, and pleasure. And the pleasure actually comes from the seeking, not necessarily the getting. So the more you do it, the more you want. I actually had a client on his arm, he had a tattoo, less is more. As he got further and further into this infinite scroll mentality, he had his tattoo changed to say more is more. I never got to see his tattoo changed, but my hope is that he changed it back to less is more, because less is more is a serotonin idea. It's a happiness trifecta idea, not a dopamine idea. So the modern platforms that we're talking about here, they know about this. The algorithm is designed for this. It's designed to keep you hooked. So more than ever, you need to be a top 1% person who's intentionally using social media to motivate yourself toward your goal and to follow people who are further ahead of you on this journey. Now, if you're looking at models for quick dopamine hits, they are taking you away from your goal, and you're feeling it, because if you go to be with your partner and you can't be aroused, you can't get it up, guess what? That scroll session has taken that away from you. Now, here's the way that dopamine works in a healthy way. You get dopamine when you do things in your real life that require vulnerability, they require risk, they require effort. You put the effort in, and then your brain gets dopamine as a result of accomplishing the thing that you set out to do. When you go on social media and you're following influencers or you're looking at models, you hit the easy button to get a flood of dopamine without the risk, without the intimacy, without the effort. Instant gratification at the click of a button, opposed to delayed gratification that you had to work for. You had to get vulnerable. You had to communicate with your partner. You had to figure out what you like. You had to figure out what she likes. You have to be risky, throw yourself out there, and possibly, get some feedback from another person. That's what a healthy, intimate relationship is. Instead, you're looking at girls' body parts. You're looking at pouts. You're looking at flashes of skin. You're getting the dopamine hits there. Then, if you don't get those things from your partner, and many times an emotionally intelligent partner doesn't want to do the things that you're seeing in the scroll, now you can't get aroused because you need those. You need those body parts in those positions. Many times the models are much younger than your partner. We know that more married men are on OnlyFans than unmarried men. So we have a huge disconnect in what you're looking at versus what you have in real life. And I have so many clients that tell me that their wife is smoking hot, a 9.9, but they can't be aroused. But because what they're watching isn't their wife, it's 20 years younger than their wife. It's different, and your brain is being trained to be stimulated by those super normal stimuli. Pixels, not your person. Okay, so there's many research studies that show that the prefrontal cortex, where the reward pathways exist, decrease function. This decreases impulse control. It increases lack of judgment. It makes executive function, planning, and organization more difficult. Now, planning something where you get small dopamine hits and working towards a larger goal that would give you more dopamine, that doesn't do it for you anymore. That's delayed gratification. You need instant gratification. You can't have both of them. Your brain's trained for instant, delayed won't work. And a healthy sexual experience with your partner, it's delayed gratification. You actually have to work for it more. It's the opposite of what you see in hypersexualized content. You have to build arousal over time, not open your tabs and be aroused immediately. Those are two different things. So let's talk about the pleasure loop and real world dysfunction that exists, that persists because of it. So your brain is trained for infinite novelty. Your partner will not be novel at all times until the end of time. That's what infinite means. So you're setting yourself up for failure in the bedroom because there couldn't possibly be infinite novelty there. Remember that you're training your brain to get pleasure from novelty, not pleasure from subtle touch, not pleasure from connection, not pleasure from eye contact, and from being with another person in an intimate way. It's novelty, 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 pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. That's not how pleasure, connection, and happiness and joy are supposed to be built like it would be in an intimate relationship. There's another study that shows that it's from 2021. I've talked about it a few times lately, that men who consume porn more than 3 times a week were more than 3 times likely to have erectile dysfunction during sex with their partner. So let me say it again. If you consume porn more than 3 times a week, more than 3 times likely to not be able to have sex with your partner because of arousal dysfunction, ED. This is at the core of ED. Now, it might be porn proper. We know social media and scrolling are doing it too. Super normal stimuli. What I want is for you to have an amazing experience with your partner and get that happiness trifecta, not have porn-induced erectile dysfunction. It's real. It's growing in a epidemic way with men, even young men down to 18 years old. It's a symptom of brain overstimulation. But the beauty is neuroplasticity. You can heal your brain. Okay, so have you ever thought to yourself, why doesn't my gorgeous girlfriend excite me anymore? Have you thought to myself, why isn't my beautiful wife doing it for me? Have you been stressed out about performing in the bedroom? Have you not even been able to think about enjoying your experience? Well, your brain is likely struggling and suffering because of that overstimulation. Your brain has been desensitized. The desensitization happens in the D2 dopamine receptors in the reward center in the midbrain. That reward center feeds forward through the pathways to the prefrontal cortex. Your brain's been trained to crave chaos, not connection. I want you to get back to connection, my friend, choosing people, not pixels. Okay, so how are we going to rewire this system? This is the brain hack strategy for the day. This is something I've told you about multiple times, but I'm here to tell you again is that your nervous system needs to be recalibrated. It's all about no longer desensitizing, but instead resensitizing. And you can gamify this every single day. Draw a chart with 2 columns. On the left-hand side, label it desensitization. On the right-hand side, label it resensitization. What things have you done to desensitize? If you went on social media and you looked at young women, that goes in the left-hand column. If you hugged your partner and held her closely, that goes in the resensitize column. Make sure you're doing way more resensitizing than desensitizing. Ultimately, we want 0 desensitization. Also, go over to drtrishleigh.com. If you have ED, the likelihood that it's coming from your brain is high. I can see it in a QEEG brain map. I can show that brain map to you. You can see where the dysfunction is, the levels of dysfunction. I have seen the brain pattern at the core of ED thousands of times. I've helped those people to resensitize their brain quickly through my top tier neurofeedback program in my one-on-one clinic. Please go over to my website, check it out. You don't have to struggle and suffer. There's advanced neuroscience technology right now that can help you heal your brain from the inside out. It's all natural, totally holistic, doesn't put anything in. It just helps you get back to where you want to be. We have to turn off that circuit that wants that endless, infinite novelty, that chaos, that scrolling, and turn it back into the one that wants connection. So, how do you know you're on the right track? You feel more present. You feel calmer. You feel clearer. There's more clarity. There's more confidence for sure. And of course, you feel more connected to your her with a capital HER, because you're no longer scrolling her with a small HER. This is about getting back to the life that you want with your partner. I talk to thousands of people. They all tell me, I want a relationship. I want to be present in it. I want to feel good within my intimate relationship. I want free from ED and what caused it. This is the solution, my friend. It's not just about quitting porn. It's more than that. You have to stop desensitizing, get your brain moving in the right direction so that we can elevate your mind over explicit matter. So get my book, also named Mind Over Explicit Matter. Get it on Amazon. It's easy peasy. You can get it where books are sold. That's the first process. It's all laid out for you there. That's the blueprint. And if you want more help, go to drtrishleigh.com. Okay, as always, control your brain or it'll control you. I'll see you next time.